evening and welcome to MOCHA Talk. I'm Denise Bunning, and thanks to FAIR for creating this safe space for us to chit-chat about various monthly topics. As a former teacher, support group leader, and of course, food allergy mom, I'm thrilled that our February episode is about winter coziness. It often means being relaxed, calm, and comfortable. I'd like to think of coziness as being as snug as a bug in a rug. And yes, you will notice I am wearing a comfy, which was an awesome gift from my very oldest friend since 7th grade, Heather, and my nieces who live in sunny Phoenix. It even comes in teal. I love winter. I do. I love sledding. I love making snowmen. I love snow angels. And as a proud Chicagoan, I'm not afraid of the cold. One of the reasons I love the cold is it makes being warm and cozy mean that much more. Living close to the equator has its benefits, but they don't do cozy like those of us who appreciate a hot mug of cocoa or mocha and a roaring fire and spending time getting out of the Arctic blast zone. It's pretty clear by now that I love to create a cozy space indoors and escape from the cold and just enjoy. Of course, winter treats can be a minefield for those with food allergies. So this episode of MOCHA Talk is all about winter coziness and winter treats through the prism of food allergies. So let's get chatting. I will introduce my guests so they can introduce themselves, and then we'll go around and share our tidbits. Our first guest is Noreen. Take it away, Noreen.
Hi, everyone. So nice to be here with all of you. My name is Noreen O'Carter, and I'm a certified health coach and integrative nutrition coach. I work with people who have autoimmune diseases and food allergies. So this topic and just being with you all is really right up my alley. And I have been a proud member of FAIR for the last couple of years. So thrilled to be here. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, so glad you're here. Okay, our next guest is Daniel. Take it away, Daniel.
Thank you, Denise. It's great to be here. I graduated from the University of Michigan. While I was there, I was involved in the Mary Weiser Food Allergy Center for the 4 years that I was there. Got involved because of an allergic reaction I actually had freshman year from a muffin. And then when I graduated from the University of Michigan, I got in contact with people at FAIR, and I'm now co-chair of the Rising Leader Committee. I have spent my time since college and graduating just advocating, talking with food allergies. It's something that I can talk forever about. I get very excited talking about it. So any opportunity I have to talk to others who either deal with it personally or deal with it because of a relative, someone they know, it's an opportunity I like to take.
That's great. Thank goodness for you, and go blue, right? Okay. All right. Next is Paige. And thank you again for being here, Paige. And take it away.
Thank you for having me. I'm so thrilled to be here with you all. My name is Paige Ma, and I'm the president of Food Allergies Rochester, Minnesota. I have 2 kids, the youngest of whom was diagnosed with food allergies when she was about 9 months old. So thanks to FAIR, I founded this group about 5 years ago, and it's been great to get other families connected and supported here that live with food allergies.
Wonderful, wonderful. So again, thank you all for being here, and we're going to get going. All right. So our first question is, where are you in the world? And are you a fan of these cold, wintry months? And we're going to go back to Noreen.
Sure. So I am located here in New York City. I'm in Manhattan, where it has been very, very cold recently, and we've had a bit of snow, maybe not as much snow as you lovely people in the Midwest, but we've had a near blizzard last week. And I really like the snow. I've come to appreciate it after 7 years of living in sunny Southern California, living in Santa Monica. I have a newfound appreciation for the snow and for the cold. So one of the things that I really love to do in the snow is just to actually go running in it, which is a little bit weird and maybe a little bit insane, but it's a really fun activity, and it actually builds a lot of endurance. So yay for snow.
Wow, that's impressive. I hope you don't. Do you have like little things you put on the bottom of your feet so you don't like slip and wipe out?
Yeah, so what I do is that I time it very well. So I time it so that it's not like you're plunged in the snow and like you can't lift your feet out, but it's like when the snow is just starting to fall. So maybe there's a little bit on the ground, but not too much. No ice, by the way, so I don't slip. So it's very scenic when you run in the snow. It's very beautiful.
Wonderful. Okay, how about you, Daniel?
I am also in New York City, and I can attest to the fact that we have had a lot of snow, more so than we've had in the last couple of years. I'm a fan of the winter. I am a fan of the cold. I'm a fan of the changing seasons. There is a breaking point that I do have, like come at usually end of February, beginning of March. I'm very excited for spring to come. But around the holidays, November, December, huge fan of the seasons changing, the snow, the colder weather, the bundling up, the changing what you eat, changing what you drink, like all of that, I am a big fan of.
Excellent. Okay, how about you, Paige?
Okay, so I think I'm going to kind of break the mold here. We always start out kind of excited about winter. My kids do love the snow. They've kind of grown up here. We get a lot of snow. We are in southern Minnesota, so it's, not as bad as the northern parts. And we've had a pretty decent winter this year. January was above freezing for most of the month, which is sort of unheard of. It's, I think, the first time that's happened since we've lived here. But we got a cold snap about 2 weeks ago, and it has been just freezing, tons of snow. The wind chill is sub-zero. And our heater went out on Monday. Fortunately, they were able to fix it very quickly. So I was actually thinking about this fair talk quite a bit on Monday and the whole theme of coziness and, those couple hours that we didn't have heat. I will never take it for granted again.
Holy cow, my goodness. Well, I'm glad your heat is back on. All right, here we go. Second question. When you think of cozy, what comes to mind? Do you have a specific memory from your past, or is it a certain place in your home? Back to you, Noreen.
Sure. So when I think of coziness, I think of a nice fireplace and also a very warm drink. And the first memory that really comes to mind, or one of the first, is when I went to Scotland about 10 or so years ago. And it doesn't really get as cold there as it does here, but I went in one evening where it was particularly chilly. And I just remember going to this like kind of dive bar a situation. I don't think they call it dive bars over there, but it was very, very comfortable. And there's like a fireplace, and everyone was like drinking their adult beverage. They know how to make really great adult beverages warm there. So it's very comforting, and everyone was just talking. It was just very nice and very communal and very friendly.
Love it. I've never been, but it does sound like a wonderful time. How about you, Daniel?
So I have a couple different thoughts that come to mind. When I was younger, the thought that comes to mind is spending the day in the snow, spending the day outside, like you can't feel your fingers. And then you come inside, you like immediately change your entire outfit. You get out of like the soaking wet stuff, you switch into the sweatpants, you like bundle under the blankets, and you just kind of like sit there in this weird, like I'm sweating, but I'm also freezing, and you're just bundled up. You get your warm drink, you just sit in front of a fireplace and you watch whatever's on TV, and you just like you kind of felt like you did your physical activity for the day. So now you could sit on the couch and just enjoy the being warm, being lazy, watching TV, being in front of a fireplace, having your warm drink. Now, as more of an adult, when I think about cozy, same idea, fireplaces. I think of more like hanging out with a couple of friends on a snow day, on a couch, having that lazy Saturday, and just ordering in some food. From the adult beverage perspective, I recently was turned on to hottie toddies, which are like, if you think about mixing whiskey with tea effectively, that has been a nice addition to my winter repertoire. Other than that, from a food perspective, I was actually having this conversation with my sister-in-law recently. French onion soup, for whatever reason, that kind of gives me this idea of like warm, like the day I would order like a French onion soup, like would be a couple of cozy foods, cozy memories, cozy thoughts that came to mind.
Very nice. Okay, Paige, your turn.
So you talked about cozy memories. So I have this memory of visiting my grandparents when I was really young. They had this lakeside cottage that we typically visit in the summertime, obviously for good reason. But one year we went for Christmas, and I remember ice skating on the lake. And then we came inside, and my grandmother made hot chocolate. It was snowing outside, and they had the fireplace going. And it was such a wonderful memory. It was the only winter that I visited them. Again, typically was there during the summer times, but since we're in such a similar climate now in Minnesota, whenever we do something outside in the winter and come back inside, I like to make hot chocolate for my kids. Dairy is one of the allergies that we have in our house, so I did find a dairy-free chocolate hot chocolate mix from Target. Of course, there are other you could do it from just, cocoa powder. But fortunately, I was able to find this, and my kids love it with soy milk and marshmallows, and we turn the fireplace on. It's usually snowing, between November and May here. So we have that kind of ambiance. But yeah, that's what cozy is to me.
Awesome. You guys already know I'm from Chicago. And so for me, it sounds like all of us have that crackling fire. So that is definitely for me a crackling fire. And I would say with my hubby, my sons, my dad, the 2 dogs. But then here's the kicker, and a Hallmark movie. Family's going to be like, oh no. But yes, it's true. I am a Hallmark fan. Okay. So here we go on the third question. So many warming, cozy comfort foods, and we kind of mentioned a couple of them, are potentially filled with allergens. So what would be your go-to eats to warm your body and your soul at this time of year? And we're going to go back to Noreen.
Sure. So I'm a big fan of soups. And the one thing that I noticed growing up is that a lot of canned soups can have a lot of allergens in them. So I learned to make soups naturally on my own. And actually, one of the things that I've gotten into recently is making French soups. So what I did is that I got the book, Mastering the Art of French Cooking. And one of the things that I'm doing is that I'm taking every recipe in the cookbook and I'm making them allergen free. So I've been through a couple of soups now, and I've put on my own spin to make sure that they're free of the top 9 allergens. So soup is my go-to because it has a lot of healthy foods, a lot of vegetables. And now I learned how to make them to be safe for me and for anyone who has a top 9 allergy.
That is incredibly impressive. My father's family is French. And so talking about soup and French, and I'm going to mention that in a little bit, but I feel like you guys are reading my mind. Okay. To you, Daniel.
So I have a good soup, cozy food memory. So I'll start there, just keep it on the theme. And also as information, I don't think that we covered this yet, but my allergies are tree nuts, sesame seeds, coconut. So there was always this homemade soup that we had that would always start popping up around when the weather turned. It was like a very hearty. There's no recipe to it. It's more like we've just always made it. Very hearty, I guess, like pea soup, but there's like a bunch of stuff in there. There's chicken, whatever. That soup is synonymous with winter, cozy in like my brain, imprinted forever. I will always just like the taste of it, the vibe of it. It's my favorite thing. Fortunately, the go-to foods in my winter repertoire are less filled with allergens. I would say it's more of an issue on the desserts. If you think about like the pecan pies, obviously people think of like, steakhouse winter, the pumpkin pies. I also am allergic to nutmeg, which is just like a random spice that gets thrown in there. So on the dessert side, I'm more limited, but I'm always happy with like a good chocolate chip cookie and, in the microwave, some milk, after dinner, go-to cozy snack as well. Outside of that, the main foods that I do eat, not that many allergens, but again, I keep bringing up my sister-in-law, which is very funny. She is a chef not a professional chef, but she cooks with her whole family. She's cooked forever. So she has recently started cooking a lot of food for me that is allergen free. One of note is she makes a fantastic pesto with no pine nuts. So it's always good.
Lucky you. All right, Paige, what about you?
So when my daughter was first diagnosed with her allergies at about 9 months, she had a couple more that she has outgrown. But I remember just really struggling to find food to make for the family that was safe because we wanted to have everything in our house be safe for everybody. And I struggled for a couple years. I do not describe myself as a great cook or chef. But then I stumbled on this cookbook, which I just have to mention because I love it so much. Sybil Pascal's Allergy Free and Easy Cooking. She has some great soups in there. Noreen, I know you mentioned you love soup, and I do also. In Minnesota, we have this thing called hot dish. I don't know if anybody's heard of it, but it's kind of like a meat vegetable with cream of chicken soup mixed in, and then you top it with tater tots and bake it, and it's actually amazing. But of course, cream of chicken soup has a ton of allergens in it, and she has a recipe for a dairy or a top 8 allergen free version. So I've been able to kind of go back to the Minnesota hot dish. Anything that is, hot and, stuff that's melted together. She has tons of options in there. So that was a huge, literally a lifesaver for our family when I discovered. And she has a companion baking cookbook, which has been great too, to get some of those, muffins, scones, cakes. I had struggled for years to find a cake that was egg-free. That was another allergen that my daughter had, and she just nails it. It's delicious. So that's pretty much where I turn anytime I'm going to make something to eat.
That's awesome. Wow. I think it's definitely a theme. So my husband has really gotten into canned soup lately. So I'm lucky because Paige and I've talked about this before. I definitely am not a chef. No, will not, everybody has their thing. You can be good at lots of things. Unfortunately, that's not one of them. But my younger son, who's 24, has lots and lots of allergies and eosinophilic esophagitis. And he is claim to fame, he has become the chef of the house. So that's been great. But when Noreen, you were talking about soups and French cooking. So my grandmother and my mother used to make this French watercress soup. Now, the original recipe has, I don't know, you're shaking your head. So the original recipe has milk in it, but it can be adapted. And I've always been craving that. And my MOCHA co-founder, Anne, who's an amazing chef, she actually made it for me for my birthday this year. So, so you were talking about the soup and the French, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're reading my mind. So, all right, here we go. We're on the fourth question. All right, so we can't leave out the warm beverages. So what are some of your favorite comforting hot beverages, and how do you keep them allergy free? So going back to you, Noreen.
Sure. So I'm pretty basic when it comes to hot beverages. I really just like hot water with lemon, which is great for digestion. You can also have it with warm water if you do not like hot water. And then I just go for a nice herbal tea. So a nice chamomile tea. And I found some brands that I really trust in terms of them being top 9 free. So yeah, nice chamomile tea. If I want some extra spice, maybe I'll add a little bit of honey. That's me being crazy. But yeah, just hot water and tea.
How about an adult beverage? What would you do for there?
Ooh, okay. So I learned to make hot apple cider. And then you can add a little bit of whiskey like Daniel was talking about earlier. You can try also vodka. So I used to be, when I lived out in Southern California, a very huge football fan. So I would go to some of the games and do the tailgating. And whenever the New York Giants were playing, I would always go out to whether it was the stadium in San Diego, which is no longer, or LA. So I would recommend, a little bit of hot apple cider. And then I would put it in my own flask, which I don't, which is a little crazy, but I needed to make sure that I wasn't sharing with other people. So that's how I kept myself safe.
So that's a tidbit. That's good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bejeweled flask, if I may say. It was really pretty.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. And you are over 21. So yes.
I am over 21.
And there you go. Okay. Daniel, how about you?
So we touched upon the hottie toddy before, which is a good winter beverage that I like. On the non-alcoholic side, I don't really drink hot chocolate anymore, but I used to like that a lot. I think I'm pretty basic as well in like the coffee, tea space. I do mix it up with the tea that I do drink. I'll go to the supermarket and just pick out a different flavor every couple of weeks, try something new. But other than that, I am pretty middle of the road with my drinks. It's like water, coffee, tea, and alcohol. It's pretty much my circle of beverages.
There we go. Circle of drinks. Okay, Paige, what about you?
So I'm 100% a coffee drinker. I love coffee. I drink it throughout the day. Of course, I have to stop after about, 4 o'clock or it'll keep me up all night. But it was a struggle definitely when, dairy got introduced as an allergen in our family because I love adding cream to my coffee, no sugar, but I do love my cream. But fortunately, I found Trader Joe's has a coconut creamer that's really good. And to me, it just tastes exactly like cream. There's also oat creamer, which is great. I know some places have soy cream, so there are definitely lots of options. I wish I was more of a tea drinker because I know it's really healthy for you. One of my resolutions this year is to add more tea. And my husband and I both really like drinking barley tea. We had it at a sushi restaurant years ago, and there's no caffeine in it. It's so great to have in the evening. So we find it on Amazon, which is great. And yep, I'll sometimes drink hot chocolate with my kids, like I said, after sledding or being outside. So that's kind of what I drink.
There we go. Well, year round, I'm an iced coffee girl. As a matter of fact, underneath this cozy, comfy, I'm sleeveless. I'm always hot, so I'm so hot right now in this, but that's okay. We're talking about coziness, so I am embracing it. But if I am going to drink something hot, I definitely do mocha or I do cinnamon coffee. I do like cinnamon tea, Paige, so you should try that. Cinnamon, I would highly recommend a cinnamon tea is a really good one. And then I'm pretty boring, hot, like an adult beverage wise, I'm just a simple white wine or a Blue Moon girl. So that's kind of me. So, all right, here we go. Last big question. Can't believe it. Okay, if you could get away from the cold for a few weeks, where on the planet would you go and why? Back to you, Nori.
Sure. So I would definitely hightail it to the Caribbean and go to St. Martin. I loved that island when I went to go visit there with my family about maybe 10 to 15 years ago. It's so much fun and it's super cultural because one side of the island is Dutch, the other side is French. And so you get like a nice cultural mix also combined with the Caribbean element as well. And I think it's actually one of the few places that I went where I felt really comfortable in terms of communicating my allergies whenever I went out to restaurants. They were really accommodating. So I would go back there and just see the awesome beaches and the beautiful blue water.
Oh, sounds amazing. And lovely to hear that they were so accommodating food allergy wise. I think that that's so much of fare and all of the special shows and the Living Teal channel. Like if you're on here and you're watching, check out some of the other shows. They're amazing. Heather Booker, Hillary Carter, like all the different suggestions. And that's what it is. It's about a community and sharing what works and what doesn't work and where to go and how to do it. So I would love to do that. I would love to go there. How about you, Daniel? Where would you go?
So I have two answers. One of these answers is because I recently traveled to Dallas and Dallas was awesome, but I'm going to actually pivot it to Austin because I think Austin, although I haven't been, is more fun. So two reasons. One, because it's a young young town, a lot of fun things to do, but the food from a bar, like the barbecue food, very allergy friendly for me. It's basically just like meat, salt, and pepper, and they just smoke it, and it's delicious, and it's unique to that place. So the food that you can get, unbelievable, really hearty, really big, fantastic meals, and a lot of worries taken off my shoulders, and it's just like a fun place to go. If I want to go the beach route, I think someplace in Italy, like the south of Italy, would be incredible. Italian food also is very good for me. It's funny because it's basically don't eat pesto, don't have mortadella. For me, as someone allergic to nuts, and pretty much everything else is good. Obviously still have, talk to the waiters, do the whole the whole spiel, etc. But I have the least trouble eating Italian food. It's the least restrictive for me. So obviously when you're considering places that you have fun, places you feel relaxed, it's also going to be correlated with places you feel comfortable eating, comfortable being. So on the flip side of that, although like Israel has like a near and dear place in my heart, everything is sesame seeds. So it's extremely difficult there. So although that's also an extremely fun place to go, everything there is sesame. They put sesame in everything. So to kind of answer your question in another way, that place, although I love going there, it's just so difficult.
So I love hearing everybody's experiences, because it always like, oh, I have to tell that to so-and-so, your friend, or your, again, with food allergy friends, or even regular friends that aren't in the food allergy circle, that give you like, hey, I think your son or your daughter could have this, or is this safe, or whatever. But Daniel, when you were saying, you were talking about, I was thinking about, we got the two Midwest girls, and you guys are in New York right now. But when you were talking about barbecue is huge in our family. And when you're on the coast, and I don't want to bag on New York or bag on, California, but Midwest people and Southern people do really good barbecue, and tends to be, like you said, a meat, and oftentimes not a lot of allergens in it. So when you were saying the barbecue, we're like, yep, whoop, whoop. Yep, we love barbecue.
Really good, and you don't eat it a lot, and you don't eat much of it when you're in New York. So it's like when I went there with my friends, I went to Dallas. We went for 3 days. It was like a very quick trip. It was a function of the prices were $35. We're like, all right, let's make a pit stop to Dallas. Could eat everything, ate it multiple times a day. It was delicious. I'd never eaten like that type of food that was that good, and the whole 9 yards. And I'm like, this is no brainer. I know what's in it. It's so easy.
Yeah, that's great. We actually did barbecue, because of food allergies in our family, we actually have flipped barbecue into, instead of the traditional turkey for Thanksgiving, we often do barbecue in our house. So again, it's about what works for your family. And, for us, it's never about the food. It's about the people and the camaraderie and everything else. And so for me, if I could go anywhere, this is so easy for me. It would be someplace, as long as my toes are in the sand, I'm near water, and I'm watching a sunset. And then, of course, family and friends are with me too, but that's what I would do. So, okay. So in my opinion, while a mocha and a fire are delightful, nothing warms my heart like good friends and sharing time with people I love. So this right here is all the coziness I need. Thank you to Noreen, to Daniel, and to Paige for warming this day and evening and our screen. I'm sending you love, rainbows, laughter, and gratitude to all of you. And I'm going to see everyone in March for the next episode of MOCHA Talk. Stay safe, everyone. Bye-bye.